Okay, so let us go to our schema. So we are discussing procedures. Yeah, let me open the yesterday's procedure. Yeah, this is the procedure we have created, and whenever we whenever we execute this procedure, a column view gets what created. Okay, so let us see one more example on this. What is the table we have considered here? Sales underscore data. Okay, sales underscore data. So my requirement is, yeah, so the difference is this procedure when you have executed has created the what column view. Okay, now I want to create one more procedure which contains input parameter as well as what output parameter, and then let us understand how this column view will work. Okay, yesterday we have created the procedure only with output parameter, and on executing this procedure, okay, a column view gets what created. Okay, we are able to see the data in that particular column view also. Okay, so the change I'll do now is it should contain both input parameter and output parameter. So when we try to get the data from the column view, so if you go to this column view, analyze underscore sales, I can right click on this and I can say what open content. It is showing me the data from the column view. Okay, but the change is, let us see how the column view will work when it contains a input parameter. Okay, so let me close this. I'll open the SQL console. I'll set the schema for the session. Done. Schema is set. Now I'll create the procedure. What is the table name? Sales underscore data is the table name. The table name is sales underscore data. So when I open the definition, what are the fields it contains? It contains some order ID, customer F name, customer last name, order date, price, and what quantity. So let me try to give the input parameter under order date, price, and quantity. 6 fields are there. Fine. So here I'll create the procedure. Okay. So parameter underscore column view. Okay. So the name of the procedure I'm giving is what? Parameter underscore what? Column view. Then let us take what some input parameter. Okay, I'll give the parameter name as v underscore order date. Okay, v underscore order date. Let us give it as what? Date. Then let us give an output parameter, which should be what? Internal table kind of thing. It should refer to our database table, sales underscore what? Data. Sales underscore data. Done. Then what is my requirement? On executing this procedure, okay, it has to create a column view. So what is the syntax we have to use? We have to say reads SQL data, with what? Result view. Reads SQL data with result view. Let me give the uh, what view name. So let me give it as something orders underscore list. Okay, orders underscore list, or the orders underscore list. Fine. Then I'll say as begin. So I tab is equal to, that is output parameter is equal to anyhow we have how many fields here? 6 fields. Let us retrieve all the fields. So I'll say select star from the table name sales underscore data, where I want to use the where condition based on what? Order date. Okay, where order date is greater than or equal to, where order date is greater than or equal to the input parameter, which is v underscore what o date, nothing but order date. Done. Okay, close the procedure. Okay, so it has got one input parameter of type date and output parameter of our database table sales underscore data, reads SQL data with the result view orders underscore what list. Okay, done. I'm getting all the fields fine. Okay, so as of now, before I execute the procedure, what is the column view it has to create? Orders underscore list. So if you go to this under our schema, if you go to the column view section, we have only one column view at this stage, that is analyze underscore what sales, right? So let me try to execute the procedure. So I'll say F8, and the procedure got successfully executed. Procedure is successfully what created, execute in the sense created, done. So the moment the procedure what is created, so when I refresh this, done, you can see now it has created what one column view with the name what orders underscore list. Yesterday what we have done, yesterday before we before we have called the procedure, we have right clicked on this analyze underscore sales. We are trying to open the content. So at the background, try to understand, yesterday when I right click on the column view, when I say open content, at the background it will call the procedure, and that procedure will return the data that we are able to see. Okay, this is yesterday's column view. Now I'll right click on this, I'll say open what content. So at the background what happens, it will try to what execute your procedure at the background. Okay, but your procedure is expecting what one input parameter of what type date. So let us see what happens. Open content, done. So it has given me an error. Okay, I'm unable to see the content. It is giving an error, could not execute. Select star from schema dot the what the column view name, SAP database tech, column store error, search table error, instantiation of calculation model file exception, undefined variable. Yeah, I can observe undefined variable dollar v underscore what o data. The variable is marked as required but not set in the query. So I'm unable to view the content from the column view. Simple understanding is, when I try to view the content from the column view, at the background it will try to call the procedure, but according to our procedure definition, it has got one mandatory input parameter of type what date. So we are unable to do that. So now let us see how to view the content from the column view, which is expecting a parameter. So procedure is successfully created. Done. So what you have to do now is, I'll just select star from. So I can use the select statement in column view also. Select star from. What is my column view name? Orders underscore what list. Select star from orders underscore list. Okay. Okay. So try to understand the syntax. Here you have to say in the parenthesis, you have to say placeholder. Okay. Placeholder dot dollar what is my parameter name? V underscore o date. V underscore o date is a input parameter name. Again you have to say dollar, done. And then implies. Okay, implies. Okay, let me give some what date. So what are the records available here? This is my what database table. Let me quickly try to query the data here. Yeah, they are the records available starting from 2009. Starting from 2009, some seven records are there. Some seven records are there. Done. So now I'll say 2009. So I'll say 2011 hyphen 01 hyphen 01. Done. So I'm trying to give the select query like this. Select star from what orders underscore list, placeholder dot dollar v underscore o date dollar implies so and so. Let's see whether it will be executed or not. So I'm expecting the what order details whose order date is greater than what 1st January 2011. So when I try to execute, yeah, I got an error. See the error here. Okay, column store error, search table, instantiation of calculation model failed, undefined variable $v underscore o date. Variable is marked as required but not set in the query. So when I'm trying to give like this, it is giving us an error. Okay, so this is giving error. The simple reason is this parameter name whatever you are giving here should always be given in what lowercase. Okay, in the column view this input parameter name should always be provided in what lowercase, even though while creating the procedure I gave it in uppercase, but when I try to query from the column view this input parameter name should always be given in what lowercase. V underscore, you can see this error message dollar they gave it as in lowercase, so let me change it. Select star from orders underscore list, let me give it in lowercase. V underscore what o date, done. Let me try to execute this now. Yeah, I got the data from the column view now. See, out of seven records in the database table, I am getting some what I'm getting some 5 records whose order date is greater than what 1st January 2011. Okay, so the main thing you have to understand here is I'm trying to create a procedure with both input parameter and output parameter. On executing this procedure, okay, HANA database will create a column view with so and so name. When I try to query the data from the column view, at the background it will try to execute the procedure, but the procedure is expecting one mandatory input parameter. So how do we query the data in such cases is we need to write the select statement manually, something like this, select star from so and so, and this input parameter name should always be in what lowercase. Now I can what call the procedure also. Call, what is the procedure name? Parameter underscore call view. Parameter underscore call view. Then here I'll give some date 2013-01-01. Okay. When I try to execute this, what happened? I got error. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The procedure signature is what? It has got one input parameter and what output parameter. Okay. So the first parameter will be considered for the input parameter, and you need to bound the output parameter. So I need to give the placeholder here. It is question mark, so that the data will be populated in that particular placeholder. So when I execute, yeah, I got the data whose order date is what greater than some 2012 or 13. Okay. I get 2013. So I got some 3 records here. Hope it's clear to everyone. Any questions, please ask me.
See that like all these select statements, like usually they are going to be written in other systems, like in ABAP
Yes.
perspective, or
Yes.
not in this system, right? Yeah.
Not. This is only for testing purpose. I wrote it.
So all these SQL, it's only for this is only like this tool is only for creating all these tables,
Yes.
procedures and views and all that, right? But
Yes.
basically all the invoking will be done either in the BW or in the ABAP, right?
Yes. Consuming will be done in the other systems. Yes.
Other systems.
Yeah.
So yeah, so okay.
Yeah. So
So
once
we
you,
even this editor, yeah, okay.
once we are done with this complete native HANA development, I'll show you how to consume that from the ABAP reports, all those things.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Okay. So done.
You will be covering that import transport also, right? Sanjay, like
Yes.
how do we import and
Yes.
transporting
I'll
layer and
cover.
all that, like
I'll cover, Praveen.
packaging? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Surendra, what is the doubt? How do we know this syntaxes? This syntaxes we should know from the standard documentation given by what SAP. Okay, so actually I have thought of sharing, but I have not shared. We have some standard documentation HA 150 and HA 400. Okay, I'll share it today. You can just cross check. You'll have the complete documentation in that. I don't know where I kept it. One second. Yeah. So HA 150 and HA 400. So this PDF files will contain what all the syntaxes. So we should have patience to go through that. This is a standard documentation given by what SAP. Okay. So everything will be there in this. Okay. I'll share this document with everyone today. Done. Now, since it's scripting, here also we can use what conditional statement, looping statement, all those things. Okay. So when you're writing the complex process, we have to check for what conditions, all those things. Okay. So in that cases, you have to go for what looping statements, conditional statements, all those things. So if you take our ABAP environment, we have conditional statements like what if and if, okay, case and case. Okay, similarly here also we have that conditional statement. Let me quickly create one procedure based on that if else if. Okay, let us try to understand the syntax of that create procedure. Okay, I'll give a procedure name as something if underscore test something. Okay, I'll give some input parameter in v underscore option. Let me give it as something varchar of something 10. Okay, then I'll give some more input parameters like v underscore x integer. Okay, and input parameter v underscore y integer, and let us take one output parameter v underscore res. Let us take it as what integer. Done. Then okay, so as begin. Yeah, now what is my requirement is these three are what input parameter, this is output parameter. So based on the option value I provide, based on the option value I pass, it should return me what the simple like calculation like addition, difference, product, something like that. Okay, so how do you check it? Now you'll say if. Okay, so what is that parameter? V underscore what option, v underscore option is equal to its character. So let me assume that I am going to pass add then. Okay, if then. Okay, v underscore res. So the you should not compare with abap. There the syntax is different, here it is different. Okay, v underscore res is equal to what? V underscore x plus v underscore x plus v underscore what y. Done. Then similarly else if v underscore option is equal to something what sub, then else if v underscore res is equal to v underscore x minus v underscore y. Then again I'll say else v underscore option is equal to something what product. Then I'll say v underscore x into v underscore y. If none of the conditions are satisfied, I'll say simply what else. Okay, done. Then I'll say v underscore res is equal to what? Some calculation v underscore x by v underscore what y. Done. And end for if is what? End if. End for if is end if. Okay, and end for procedure is what? End. That's all. So this is a simple example just to understand the syntax of what if else if. Done. Let me execute the procedure. I'll say f8 procedure got successfully created. Done. So let us try to call the procedure. Here I'll say call the procedure name is what? If underscore what? Test. If underscore test. Overall how many parameters are there? Three input parameters and one output parameter. So I must supply the values for what? All the parameters. So I'll say call if underscore test. What is the first input parameter? V underscore option. Okay, I'll say implies what are the positive values I can give? Add, sub, and what? Product. So let me give something product. Okay, v underscore option implies product. Then what are the other two input parameters? V underscore x, I'll say implies something 34. V underscore y implies something 12. Done. And then it is going to return one parameter v underscore res. So let us bound this parameter with what? A placeholder question mark. Done. Okay, so I'm just calling the procedure. When I say f8, since I passed product, I got something what 408 it seems. Okay, 408, 34 into what? 12 is what? 408. Similarly, I'll say add, I'll got one thing what? 46. Okay, let me say, I'll say div. We don't have any div condition here, so control goes to what? Else part. Control goes to else part. When I say f8, I got what? 2. 34 by what? 12 is a 2 point change. So it, since it is an integer, it is not giving the decimal places. So this is simple syntax for what? If else if. Similarly, we have what case. If you take our C or C plus or Java, we have switch. In our ABAP, we have what case and case. But in case of this HANA database, this case and case should be used as part of what select query. Okay, if you take our normal ABAP, if you see our OpenSQL statements, we don't have any select statement where we use case as part of that. Okay, case we'll use it separately and select we'll use separately. But in case of HANA database, case and case we'll be using it as part of what select query. Okay, so let me just show you one example to understand the syntax of that case and case. So based on this syntax only, going forward, when we develop the reports, we'll write the complex select queries. What is the main agenda of this HANA database? Code push down. The entire business logic, we have to put it in what? HANA, we have to push to what? HANA database, so that the entire processing will be carried out at the database level itself. So we need to write the select statement with multiple what conditions. So that we'll do it as part of our case and case. So let me show you one simple syntax for that. Okay, and do we have one second? Let me open the table. Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me quickly create a table. Based on this table, I'll write the select query with the combination of what case and case. So I'll say create column table emp underscore department. Done. Okay, I'll give some fields here. emp id. Let me give it as int and primary key. Done. Then I'll give another field employee name. Let me give it as varchar of 20. Varchar of 20. Done. Then I'll give another field like a department number. Let us give it as what? Integer. Then I'll take another field like salary. Yes, salary. Let me take it as a decimal of something 12 comma 2. Done. 12 comma 2, and let us close the table. Done. I'll say F8. Yeah, the table was successfully created. Now let me quickly maintain some data in this. Insert into. Okay, insert into the table name is emp underscore department values. Okay, I'll give one, and I'll say some values Raju department number 10, and I'll give what? Some salary. I can attach a sequence also, that anyhow we know. Done. So let me give different departments here. Done. Okay, so these are the departments. Let me maintain different data. Done. So this is my data. Oral file, how many records? Four records. Yeah, four fields and records are eight records. Let me execute this. It is executing that. So now what I'll do is based on this table, let me create one table type so that I can refer it in my select query. In that table type, I'll take one additional column. My table contains only four fields: employee ID, employee name, department number, and salary. I'll create a table type with some additional column like a tax component. So that tax value should be constructed as part of the select query containing what case and case. So what is the requirement? I need to create a table type which contains same fields of the as that of database table plus one additional column called as what tax. Okay, the value for the tax column should be constructed in the procedure by writing a select query with a combination of what case and case. So you can see all the records got successfully inserted. So when I refresh, table name is emp underscore department. So when I query for the data, done. So I got all the eight records. So it has got four columns. Fine. Let me quickly copy this. Done. Now here, done. Okay, right. So now let me create a table type using what SQL only. So how do you create a table type? Already we have seen this yesterday. Create type. Okay, let me give the type name as table type underscore emp underscore department as a table. Okay, as table. Let me give the fields. Okay, I'll give the fields. Let me copy this as it is. Done. So I took four fields plus let us take one additional column like what tax. Okay, tax value. Let me take it as a decimal of something what 10 comma 2 or something 9 comma 2. Done. Okay, close the table type. That's it. So what is the change? We have one additional column tax val. Let me execute this. Yeah, successfully executed. The table type is successfully created. Now I need to write a procedure which makes use of this database table and what table type. So what I have to do? My procedure has to return me how many columns? Five columns. My table contains only what? Four columns. Employee ID, employee name, department number, and salary. But my procedure has to return me five columns. What is the additional column? Tax component. Means I need to refer to my table type. And for that tax component, I need to do the calculation based on the department number. If the department number is 10, okay, salary should be so and so, okay, something like that. Okay, the tax should be so and so. So I'll say let me create the procedure. So try to understand, this is very important. We will be using this select statement syntax in multiple places going forward. Create procedure. Okay, let me give the procedure name as case underscore test. Okay, earlier I gave what if underscore test. So let me give case underscore test. Create procedure case underscore test. Then I'll give an output parameter out. I want to return an internal table. referring to our table type. What is our table type? TT underscore EMP underscore department. TT underscore EMP underscore department. Done. Okay. Yeah, fine. As begin. See, you can observe here earlier when I am creating the procedure in the last two cases I use this additional option. What is that? Reads SQL data. So when do we go for that? On executing the procedure, if you want to generate any column view to store that content, we'll go for this syntax. So this is an optional thing we may or may not use, and in the if statement also I have not used, here also I have not used. I don't require that, so it's an optional thing. As begin, yeah, I tab is equal to what are the columns you want? Let us take select. Okay, select emp id. Okay, emp id is one column. Then what else? Emp id, ename, department number. Emp id, ename. Okay, let me take department number also. Then let me take salary also. Done. Okay, emp id, ename, department number, salary. Yeah, try to understand. Comma, yeah, I need to construct the value for what tax and put it in this particular table type column what tax value. So select empid, ename, depart number, comma, salary. Done. Now see the syntax carefully. Here I can continue here only, but just to increase the readability, I'm putting it in the next line. Case, I want the tax to be calculated based on department number. So I'll say case department number. Done. Case department number. When when one what are the department numbers available? 10, 20, 30. No? So when 10, then I'll say, then what is that? Salary into some what percentage. So I'll say salary into what? 0.2. Okay, done. Okay, when 20, then I'll say salary into, okay, salary into something 0.30. Okay, when 30. Okay, then when 30, then what? Salary into salary into. So it takes some time to get used to the syntax. Don't try to remember the syntax. That is what is my suggestion. Anyhow, you'll have the documentation, you have to refer to that. So once you practice, you can remember. When 30, then so and so. Then if you take our ABAP environment, we'll say when others. When others. Here I'll simply say else. 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 I'll say what? Else. I'll say salary into 0.50. Done. And then what I have to say? End as, yeah, case so and so. End as, what is that additional column in my table type? Tax val. End as what? Tax val. End as tax val. Done. And then I'll say from, what is my database table name? emp underscore department. From emp underscore department. Hope it should work. And okay, so let me cross check. Select employee id, employee name, department number, salary. Okay, from emp underscore department. From emp underscore department. Done. And then I want to return it to my, what is the return type here? The output parameter is what type? Table type. The output parameter is table type. How many columns are there in the table type? 5 columns. Okay, so if I get only four columns and put it in I tab, you'll not get what? Tax val. So I'm dynamically constructing the value for what? Tax val field in the table type. So on what basis and which field? Based on department number. Case department number, when 10 so and so, when 20 so and so. Then else is similar to what? When others. Salary into so and so. End as, yeah, end as tax val. So what are the calculation it will do? It will put that calculated result in which column? Tax value. And from emp under the table name. Done. So let's see whether this works or not. I'll say F8. Yes, it got successfully executed. The procedure is successfully executed. Okay. Now, now let me try to call now. So procedure is successfully executed. I'll try to call now. Call case underscore what test. Call case underscore test. Okay. It has got one output parameter. So let me say what question mark. Done. 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 Okay. So let me execute this. I'll say F8. Yeah, I got the data. Done. So you can see it is returning me the structure of my table type with the values of what tax value. Done. Yeah, working fine. Hope it's clear. This syntax. Any questions? Please ask me.
Sir, where is this table type created, Sridhar? Under procedures?
No, 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 separately.
No, no,
This one.
no. In the UI
Acha,
part,
acha,
it
in
should
the
be
okay.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you go to the procedures thing under table types, what is the procedure? The table type name TT underscore EMP underscore department. TT underscore this is. If I open the definition, it is showing me the definition. That is the structure under procedures only. Yeah, what is the doubt? One second. Yeah, everything in the select query only, Surendra. That is the main concept about code push down. What we used to do in our traditional ABAP, we need to write the select query to fetch the data from database and return it to what internal table, where that internal table gets created in the application server. Once we get the data into the internal table, the entire processing we will do it in what internal table, and that processed data will update it back to what database, but the actual business logic execution will be done at what application server level. Okay, but now what we are doing here, we are pushing our business logic, we are pushing our business logic to the database itself. Am I clear to everyone? The agenda of HANA database is what? Code push down. Push the entire business logic into what? Database level. So that it will do the entire processing at the database level and returns us the required result. Yes, we can debug. We can debug. This is a very simple select query, okay? Just to show you the syntax of this case and case. But once I complete the ANA development, when I go for developing the custom reports or enhancing the reports, at that time, we'll write the complex select query which contains what complex business logic. Okay, the debugging, what we discussed in the last week, the same thing. Okay, anyhow, we'll be discussing that elaborately going forward. Any questions in this syntax? So please ask me. Okay, done. So this is not conditional statement. So this comes under what? If and if and case and case comes under what? Conditional statement. Now let us quickly understand the syntax related to what? Looping statements. Okay, so just like we have while loop, okay, here also we have the while loop. Let me quickly show you that. Just to understand the syntax, okay, you can write any business logic whatever you want. Create procedure. I'll say something while underscore test. Done. And I'll say as begin. I'm not taking an input parameter. Yeah, already I think I covered this. How do you declare variables in what procedures? By using a statement called as what? Declare. Okay, so declare, I'll say something v underscore counter. Okay, int. Okay, colon equal to what? 3. Okay, what I'm doing here, I'm declaring the variable and initializing the variable. Declaring the variable and what? Initializing the variable. Done. Then let me declare another variable, declare v underscore what, something what x, let me take it as what, integer. Done. So I declare two variables. And here also, if you want to initialize, you can initialize it separately. I'll say v underscore x equal to what, 1. Done. V underscore x equal to 1. Now I'll say while. Let's try to understand the syntax. While, what is the initial value of x? 1. Na? So while v underscore x is what? Less than, while v underscore x is less than v underscore what, counter. What is the value of the counter? 4. While v underscore x is less than v underscore counter, do. See the syntax. Do. And just I want to populate the value of x. How do you populate? Select. I'll say v underscore x from what? Dummy. Okay. Select v underscore x from dummy. And let me increment that. So I'll say v underscore x equal to v underscore x plus 1. Then I'll say end for while is what? End while. End while. And then end for procedure is what? End. That's it. So this is a syntax for what? While end while. So what I'm doing here, I declare two variables. One variable is initialized, counter variable is initialized to 4, and init x variable is initialized to what? 1. So I'm writing a simple logic. While x is less than what? 4. Initially what? 1 is less than 4. Yes. Do so and so, done. I'm just populating the value every time. Okay. So when I execute this, let us see if the procedure is created or not. When I say F8, oh, I got error. Why? I got the error. Where? In line 8, column 12. Here I got the error. What is the error here? But probably I gave the space here. That is the issue might be here. Okay, so let me just remove the space. When I execute this, when I say F8, done. Yeah, the procedure successfully got executed. Now let me close everything here. Let me try to execute this. I'll say call, what is the procedure name? While underscore what? Test. That's it. Okay. So it has to print the value of x every time. So see the result here. See the result here. When I say F8, just observe here. As of now, we have only one tab here, SQL tab. So when I execute this, done, you can see, observe this, I got three tabs. I got three tabs for result. What is that? First time actually is what? One. It is populating because I wrote the select inside what? I wrote the select inside what? While loop. Okay. Then here also I got two. Then I got three. At certain stage, x becomes what? 4. When 4 is less than 4, no, condition is fair. It will not enter the while loop. Hope the result is clear to everyone. Since I wrote the select statement inside the loop, it will be executed each time and it is generating the separate result. It is not the consolidated result. We are not writing the select outside. Okay. So this is a simple syntax for what? While and while. Similarly, yeah, yeah.
So in the above select statement, you have data in itab, right? The above one, yeah, in the above
Done.
above procedure.
Yes, and this
So how do
itab,
you process itab data?
itab is marked as what? Out. So
Yeah,
it,
if in case if I get the data in itab, I want to process some of the data later, like something like itab one of the field into some one to something like. If I want to do any manipulations to itab, like how do we do that?
yeah, wherever you are consuming, you'll receive that internal table, na? Okay, once it
Mhm.
is received, then you process it normally. How do
So
you
in the
process?
ABAP side.
ABAP, yes.
Okay, here we cannot look to the internal itab.
Yeah, here if you want further logic, you can do it. Once we get the data into iTab, okay,
Mm-hmm.
use a loop statement here. Okay, we have loop here, for loop here. Okay, you can do whatever you want. For iTab in 1 to means 1 to 10 is what? From first record to what? 10th record, do so and so. Yes, here also I can do it. See here, the entire data. So in that case, don't declare this iTab as output parameter. Okay, Understood? Don't declare the output, because if you declare the output, it will be populated to us. So declare this itab locally, declare this itab locally, and then once we receive this itab in the once we get the data in the itab, you do further processing here only. Okay, and at the end, whatever the final result is, that you populate it to what final itab. You declare that final itab as what output parameter.
Okay, we can still process that itab, right? That's
Yes,
what my
yes,
question
yes,
is.
yes, yes, yes. Here also I can, because we are in the block, na. If it is an independent select statement, I cannot do it. But we are inside a block, so I can do any kind of processing here. Okay, done. Similarly, we have for loop here. Okay, so we don't have a for loop in our ABAP. We have that in C, C plus Java. So here also I'll say create procedure. Let me give it as for underscore what test. Okay, for underscore test as begin, and here I'll say what for, see the syntax for. Okay, first of all let me declare it. I'll say declare, let me declare a variable, what v underscore what counter, v underscore counter of type int. Okay, let me initialize to what 1. Okay, I'm initializing to 1. Then I'll say for v underscore counter in 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 what 1 to 5, in 1 to 5 do. Okay, do and for. So what is the change you have to understand here is, in case of while loop, okay, we have to increment this iteration variable, but whereas here it is auto incremented 1 to 5, it will automatically do the incrementation. So I'll say select what v underscore counter from what the temporary table dummy end for procedure what end. So this is a syntax for what for and end for. So here we need not increment this iteration variable, it will be automatically incremented by what 1. Let me execute this. I'll say f8, got executed. Now I'll say call for underscore what test. So when I say f8, yeah, you can see I got what 5 different results, 1 2 3. It's not a consolidated one, because we are writing that inside a what for loop. So this is a syntax for what for loop. Again we'll be using all these things when you start consuming the procedures. Done. Okay, similarly we have what loop and loop, just like in ABAP we have loop and loop. Let me show you that syntax also quickly. I'll just copy it. Create procedure, let me give it as loop underscore what test, loop underscore test as begin. Let me declare one counter here. Okay, let me not initialize it. Done. Okay, then I'll say declare what v underscore something x. Let me give it as int colon 3 or something 4. Done. Then I want to use the loop statement. V underscore counter done. V underscore x, or let me start with 1 only. Done. And then here I'll say loop. Try to understand the syntax. Loop. Okay, loop no period. Yeah, select what? One second. Let me make it as something 4. Let me initialize to what 1. Okay, done. So select v underscore what counter from what dummy. Done. Then I'll say if I'm using the if condition here, if what v underscore counter, what is the initial value 1 na? Yeah, select v underscore counter is greater than what, greater than what v underscore, greater than v underscore x. Then I'll say break. Okay, I'm trying to show you the purpose of what break. Just like we have break in ABAP also, here we don't have break. I think we have exit there, we have exit and continue. Break, I don't think we have in ABAP. Do we have a break in ABAP? We have exit and continue. Break, I'm not sure. I think it's not there. And if we have exit and continue there. Okay, so I'm saying break here. If and if, then I'll increment the value of what? Counter. So I'll say v underscore counter. Okay, v underscore counter is equal to, yeah, v underscore counter plus what? 1. And then end for loop is end loop, end loop, and end for procedure is what? End. So let me check the logic. Initially it is 1. If it is greater than x, then only break it. Yeah, done. Each time I'm incrementing. Done. That's it. So this is loop and what? End loop. Loop and end loop. Let me execute this. I'll say F8. I got an error in the line 11, column 18. Here I got the error. What is the error here? Why we got the error here in the line 11 and column 18 it seems. V underscore counter equal to V underscore counter plus 1. It is giving me the error here. Okay, let me remove this. F8. No, still error. Why? What is the error here? V underscore counter line 11 column 18. Yeah, end if and end loop. Oh, correct only, na? Okay, V underscore counter. Let me put it like this. Yeah, here I should not give column. Done. So procedure got what? Successfully created. Let me quickly call it. Call loop underscore test. The problem was I gave colon here. So it should be in the right hand side. So call loop underscore test. Let me execute this. Yeah, I got the result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so once it reaches greater than 5, it is exiting from the loop. Break will come out of the current loop. Break will come out of the current loop. Okay, so this is how we use while, for, and what? Loop, end loop, if and what? Case, end case. We'll be using all these things going forward. Okay, so these are all the basic things. Tomorrow onwards, we will start with a new concept called as cursors in HANA database. Just like we have cursors in our ABAP also, here also we have concept called as cursors. Declaring the cursors, opening the cursor, fetching the cursor, all those things. So if you have time, anyway, I'll share that PDFs with all of you. Just go through that. In that, go through that cursors concept. We'll be discussing cursors tomorrow. Once we complete cursors, okay, we'll start going forward a new concept where we start consuming all these things. Done? Any questions for today? Please ask me.
Hello, sir. Please share the document yesterday class document.
Yesterday class document already I've shared, na? I've shared with
Sir,
everyone.
I didn't. Sir, I'm not getting the document.
What about others? Others, have you received the yesterday's examples? Yeah, I've shared with everyone. Devashish, right? You received Oops ABAP
Yes.
material?
Yes. I have received.
Oops, you received, but you are not receiving this UI, sorry, ABAP banana. Okay, I'll check it once
Yes.
again. I'll check it. Hmm? Okay,
Okay, sir.
yeah. Right, so I'll wind up for today. Just practice this. Tomorrow we'll start with a concept called cursors.
in real time HANA projects, like, are we going to change most of the existing programs like this, or like how?
Yes, when we are, yeah, most of the existing programs, when the customer is shifting to HANA database, there might be thousands of reports which are already developed, okay, retrieving the data from what non-HANA database. So we are going to enhance them. We are going to enhance them by
Mhm.
writing these kind of things. Yes, we are. We are going to modify the existing. Mainly things
Yeah.
enhancing the reports.
So making sure that the all report is similar to the all report output, we should be writing the code, to get the same output probably in a different
Yes,
way.
the output would be same, the look and feel would be same, but the business logic
Yeah.
will try to put it to data. We will try to push it to database so that performance will be improved.
Yeah. Suppose if I have the data in Oracle database, either some custom program, so I should be writing on HANA database with different logic is different, but output should be finally same, right?
Uh,
That's what we are going to
Praveen,
do.
Praveen, your 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 voice was lagging,
And
Praveen.
using the HANA features.
Praveen, sorry, your voice was lagging. Can you please repeat?
No, no, no. My only question is, like, we will be, using all these techniques to improve the existing programs, and we need to
Yes,
rewrite, right? Something
yes,
like
yes,
rewriting,
yes.
right?
Compulsory. We have to rewrite.
Yeah.
Compulsory. Okay, if the report is
Okay,
taking
okay, okay, Sridhar, no
yeah,
problem.
if the report is taking 2 hours time to give the result, we need to incorporate the features of HANA OpenSQL statements and improve the performance so that it takes less time.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
Okay, so what we'll do going forward is we'll execute the normal report which is already available. We'll calculate how much time it is taking. Then we'll rewrite the same report using these ANA features, and then again we'll evaluate the performance. We'll check whether the performance is
Perfect. Yeah.
improved or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Sridhar. Yeah.
done. So we'll continue tomorrow.